Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. Good morning. Great morning to those of you guys that are tuning in. It feels like I have been missing in action for a good little minute. I don't even think I went live all of last week, but nevertheless, it is so good to be here on this good old Monday morning. As always, as you guys are coming in, go ahead and tell God thank you and tell me one thing that you are grateful for. If you are catching this thing on the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay crew so that I know that you are catching it on the replay. Also, I want to thank you guys for all the thumbs up, and even the views that you guys have been giving me. Our community here on YouTube, it is growing. It is growing. It is growing. It is growing, and it is something that I truly believe that the devil does not like. And so today I will say that I am grateful and thankful for God's grace today. I'm so also thankful for the fact that God has such a compassionate heart. And so that is my little thing of what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for even just the relief that I got this weekend and, actually sleeping good. I told God, I said, surprisingly, I ain't even tired. And so I'm just so very grateful for that. I'm grateful for renewed hope and older dreams and visions. I love that. Grateful for opportunities for growth. Come on, y'all, with these. Come on. Come on. Check y'all out. And so as always, please be sure that you're hitting that thumbs up button. If you have not signed up for our June raffle, notice I'm going to extend it probably until mid-July, maybe the third week in July, and then we will pull the raffle. So you guys have plenty of time to actually catch up. So let's get into today's daily manna. This one, I feel like this one is going to be one that is gonna be for the books. As you guys can see, the title of today's daily manna is Just Show Up. Yeah, I'm gonna say it again. Just show up. So for the past, I know YouTube, you guys have probably been like, where's Apostle T at? Where's she at? T ain't been doing the daily manners, and there has been a reason for it. I was not going to address the situation, but as God has been giving me like just revelation, I feel like I have to kind of share because it ties into this morning's daily manna. So last week was one of those weeks where it was a overwhelming week. It was a week where I felt like, God, I'm at my maximum capacity. And one of the things that added to me not doing YouTube last week was the fact that there have been several people that have been cyber stalking me on YouTube. Yep. I'm going somewhere with this. There have been several people that have just been cyber stalking me on YouTube, where they sit and they watch the daily manners, and then it turns into them emailing me, or it turns into them creating fake pages, into just them honestly harassing me. And I didn't realize that that had such an impact on me not really wanting to show up for YouTube, and even just not wanting to show up in other areas of my life. I feel like when when a person's load is already heavy, sometimes the devil only has to do one little thing that pushes you to not wanting to show up. And I'm gonna just say this because I always say this: when we think about the things that we're believing God for, our presence is the main thing that is in order to receive what God has for us. I'm gonna say that again: your presence is the number one thing that is needed in order for you to receive God's blessings. If you don't believe me, we can go to the book of Galatians 6:9, where those who don't grow weary in well doing will reap if they faint not. It is God saying that there is a reward for those people, those children who remain present, even when they're tired, even when it feels like this path is not going anywhere. And so I was sitting outside, and I'm just going to outwardly call these people out because they have been harassing me in private, and they've been doing so to the first person's name is Marlene. This has been an old client that honestly, at times where I'm overwhelmed or I'm going through things, the devil just activates this young lady, and she has created so many just fake paths. And this is a part of freedom. And I'm gonna just say this: sometimes showing up looks like you addressing what is attacking you in private. I'm gonna say that again. Sometimes showing up looks like you addressing publicly the things that are attacking you in private. And so the first young woman's name is Marlene. She watches every single broadcast. And when I tell you guys, I have so many messages back to back to back to back to back of this woman spiraling for the past few years. I have not spoken to her. And so that's one situation that's happening. But the second situation is Tula. You follow me here, and I'm just going to call you out. This young woman watches the YouTube channels. She has sent mail to my mother's house, but even in sending mail to my mom's house, and I'm going to explain how this ties in. This young lady has created a page on TikTok that is directly geared to harass me, to attack me, and to bully me. And I did not realize that that page in itself, that last attack, was the thing that kind of made me hesitant on sharing the revelations, on being transparent. And so this morning I found myself, apart from just dealing with grief this morning and that being a heavier thing that I've been dealing with today, I found myself just not wanting to show up. And it took, and I'm gonna just say this, a lot of times when we get into those modes where we don't want to show up, we would rather run than address what is actually bothering us. And so this morning, I'm washing my hair, I'm doing the things, and God is asking me, and I had like a whole crying session this morning. And the Lord asked me, what is it? Why is it that you're not wanting to broadcast? Why is it that you're not wanting to be vulnerable or share moments? I promise y'all I'm going somewhere. And so when I really just sat and thought about it, I said, Lord, at first I'm like, I can't really pinpoint what it is. I'm thinking maybe it's just grief. And when I went outside, the Lord said, grief is not the thing that is making you not want to show up. He began to tie it back to the devil, and how the devil's agenda for all of us is to steal, kill, and destroy. When circumstances are not enough, the devil feels like he has to get creative to get us to not show up. The name of the game in the devil's eyes is to keep us from showing up so that we never really see who God is, and so that we never really tap into all the things that God has for us. And give me some fire emojis if I'm making sense. I'm going to say it again. The devil's agenda for all of us is to steal, kill, and destroy. And if he cannot do it by circumstances, a lot of times the devil begins to get creative, and he gets creative in launching attacks that are designed to weigh us down to the point where we just stop showing up. The devil knows that there is a reward for those who continue to for God. He knows that, honestly, there's a reward for those of us who just simply do not quit and who remain unaffected by the things that the devil does. And so as I'm sitting with God this morning, he was talking to me about the strategy. He said, do you not see that even though, the devil is using these two women to attack you, to harass you, and these women, the demons in them, are stalking you? The Lord says, do you not see how it is creating an effect in you that makes you not only not want to go live on YouTube, which is what I've called you to, but it also hinders what you want to do even on TikTok? And when I sat and I thought about it, I said, Lord, you are exactly right. And so sometimes when we feel like we don't want to show up, a lot of times what we're dealing with is, God, I don't know how to show up when I feel so heavy. Anybody ever felt like that? Feeling like I don't know how to recover after this has happened, after that has happened, or if I'm dealing with this. And a lot of times it is a fear that if you keep going, that the devil is just, that God is simply not going to fend the devil off. A lot of, my feelings of not showing up or getting to a place where I didn't want to show up revolved around me feeling like, God, I feel like you are not fending the devil off. And so it's making me hesitant and because if I keep showing and the devil keeps attacking me, that's something that doesn't feel good. And sometimes we feel like retreating unconsciously leaves us from the warfare that we feel. Does that make sense? And so that has kind of been where I am. And that's why God had me publicly call those women out, because it is something that they both have been doing that has really, it's the devil using them, but it's something that has made me not want to share what God has put on the inside of me. The Lord went even deeper. He said, do you not also understand that the devil it's a twofold thing? The devil is not only, I don't know where these people are going. The devil is not only trying to get you to not show up, but you know what God said? He says, think about all of the souls that benefit from you being transparent. And he's just been highlighting the teachings both on YouTube as well as on TikTok, and how these are lessons, these are revelations that are literally helping people break free from where they are and cross over into what God has for them. And so I'm sitting outside, I'm watering my garden, and I'm like, Lord, how do I bounce back? Because there is a fear in me that feels like if I continue to show up, that the devil is going to keep attacking me, and that I feel like the attack may be the thing that literally takes me out. And you want to know what God told me? The Lord said, show up and I will handle the rest. I'm going somewhere with this. He said, show up and I will handle the rest. And so it made me probe the question to God, like, why do you want me to continue showing up when the devil is attacking me and you're not doing anything? You want to know what God told me? He said, it's not that I'm not doing anything, but I'm letting you go through the warfare that you are, because this type of warfare produces a strength that is needed for where you're going. He said, I'm not trying to let you suffer. I'm not trying to let the devil get a win over you. But what I am doing in your life, right, is I'm allowing some of this warfare, because this warfare is the very thing that is producing the strength, the resilience that you need for where you're going. And I'm gonna just be real. A lot of times we take those moments where the devil attacks us and we feel like God just lets it happen. A lot of times, like we take those moments personal, because we're thinking from the space of right now, I'm already overloaded, I'm already overwhelmed with life, I'm already stretched thin, which means like I feel like at any given moment anything could take me out. And so we start taking it personal when we're already in a stretched thin space, and we feel like God isn't covering us. And that in itself creates a domino effect where in our mind, we start trying to protect ourselves. And the number one way that we try to protect ourselves is, maybe if I don't follow God, the warfare will stop. Maybe if I just, kind of just start, filtering out the instructions of God. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Maybe if I just filter out the instructions of God and do the things that are a little bit easier, that don't require as much risk, maybe it won't account to as much warfare. Hello, somebody. God told me, he says, because you've been still going live on TikTok. You've still been doing that. But you quit going live on YouTube altogether because you felt like I was putting you in a risky position that was about to push you over the edge. So you know what God said? He says, so in order to move forward, you have to show up. Because if the devil sees that he can punk you, he will forever punk you. And when I think about that first young lady that I named, I don't want to call their names anymore. This is someone who has literally been cyber stalking me since 2018. Yeah, that's a long time. 2018. Creating constant fake pages, fake page after fake page after fake page. And I didn't realize that the more and more I allowed the devil to punk me and I not publicly address it, the devil was just, sending the same kind of people with this, different people with the same spirits. And so even when I avoided, even walked the other way, the devil knew that was a weak spot. And so he continued to use it time and time again. The second young lady carries the same spirits as the first. I'm going to say it again. The second young lady that I listed carries the same, different face, same spirits. And so as I'm sitting in God's presence, like God asked me the question, do you see now? The moment you ran, the moment you chose to not show up or to let this person affect you showing up for me, the more and more you got in alignment, the more the devil activated them, the more the devil sent new ones. If he couldn't use her, he used somebody else. And so today, just showing up looks like showing up in a way that you've been running from showing up. For some of us, we've been running from just simply doing the hard things. For some of us, we've been running from taking, whatever risk we feel following God entails. For some of us, we've been running from conversations that need to be had. And so you know what happens? Because you've been running from conversations or creating boundaries or telling people it's a wrap, guess what happens? The devil creates a constant cycle where even though you're trying to move forward, you are still held back by the thing that you're running from. And so, in a way, showing up today looks like cutting the cord on the devil, cutting the devil's access off to you. The more you run, the more the devil has access to you. The more you don't deal with what you need to deal with, guess what? The more the devil has access to you. And so, in a way, God is talking about breaking the cycle by just showing up, following him, no matter what you feel the risk is, no matter what your history with God has been. Because if God is allowing it, guess what? It means that he has a purpose for it. And a lot of times God is more so focused on where he's taking us than the pangs of the right now. And we can just be for real. Sometimes God knows that even though he empathizes with the fact that we feel overwhelmed sometimes, or the fact that we feel like, man, I'm about to, throw in the towel. God is thinking and he is moving with our future in mind. And so those moments he empathizes where we feel overwhelmed. He empathizes, but you want to know something? God knows you had to go through this. My child has to go through this in order to be prepared for what I'm about to bring next. I feel like a lot of times we don't talk about the fact that I believe that even God empathized with the children of Israel. They had just come out of slavery. And the wilderness resembled, it looked like a place that was worse than where they came from. I believe God empathized with them, but guess what? God's instructions were still his instructions. He knew that even though this is hard, even though this may be a little bit more temporarily, even a little bit more difficult than where you've come from, these are lessons, hard lessons that you've got. And sometimes there is no way for us to be prepared than to be put under pressure, than for him to let the devil attack us. Same thing in the book of Job. I believe God was empathizing with Job being attacked. Even though Job didn't do anything wrong, God empathized with him, but he also knew that that was something that Job needed to go through. And he also knew that he would reward Job for going through it. And so, the same way that we see things playing out in the Bible, why do we not feel that God is that same way, right? Sometimes it does hurt to show up. We can be for real and say that. Sometimes it is uncomfortable to show up. We can say that as well. But the truth at the end of the day is that for those who continue to show up, no matter how hard it is, God rewards us greatly. I say all of that to say, don't you let the devil trick you out of your spot in this season because you are scared to show up, or because you are running from doing the hard stuff. Get it out the way. Do what you have to do so that you can matriculate. And I'm going to say this, even God having me to call those two women out, it's something that I've never done. I've never said their names on lives. I've hinted at them, but I have never said these women's names, But even then, just getting to a point where God says, okay, say their names. Do you not know that there is a pressure that has lifted off of me? Where it's like, okay, now that it's out in the open, God, they're attacking me out in the open. I just said their names out in the open. So, let's just continue to move forward. And so that is today's daily manna. If it has blessed you, can you do me a favor and tell God thank you? If you have not already hit that thumbs up button, please be sure that you hit that thumbs up button. If you have not subscribed already, please do me a favor and go ahead and hit that subscription button. We are about to try TikTok and flow for a little bit. And we just gonna let God lead us there. So if you would like to follow us over on TikTok, the name is ThoughtsbyT. The name is ThoughtsbyT. It's for those people that feel led to sow. You absolutely can sow. You can sow. The ways are always listed in the description of every single video. You can sow via PayPal. You can sow via Zelle. You can sow via Chime. You can even sow via Cash App. Also, disclaimer, if you are sowing via Cash App, please do not put a seed title. Please just don't do that, because we are using someone else's Cash App, and I don't want Cash App to flag her account. And so that is it. I love you guys. I am rooting for you guys. And so, yeah, till next time. Peace.